A top story, at least 8 people have been killed in poll-related violence in Jammu and Kashmir's Budgam district. We're getting a reaction from the government. Let's go across to that.
It was also written communication to the Election Commission, and they were made cognizant of the situation here, and they were not in favor of the elections happening now. So there was written communication.
इस तरह की भी रिपोर्ट है कि होम सेक्रेटरी ने एडवाइस किया था कि इलेक्शन कंडक्ट ना करें, लेकिन उसके बाद भी
जी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, जैसे हमने अभी बताया कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने भी इस पर काफ़ी जोर दिया था कि अभी कंड्यूसिव नहीं है, पहले में रीच आउट करने की जरूरत है और अभी साजगार नहीं है।
तो किन के दबाव में फिर इलेक्शन हुआ? जब होम सेक्रेटरी,
ये तो इलेक्शन कमीशन का फैसला है, तो ये तो जाहिर है कि उनका फैसला।
अगर ये नहीं हुए इलेक्शन तो फिर
well, one has to consider how would my withdrawing help the cause. What would withdrawing do? One has to assess these situations.
But if the election commission will not
if the election commission does not postpone and I withdraw, the question that must be asked is that how is that going to serve any purpose? What is the benefit of that?
But what will be your personal intention? Because you are the contesting candidate.
Come again, please.
Contesting candidate.
I have contested. If I've contested, then I have to go all the way through the contest, unless it helps the cause in some way. Unless because of my withdrawing, the election is postponed. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to withdraw. It's not the sensible choice to make.
Sir, you are not here. Tasaduq. Tasaduq. It is not only election commission goes ahead and other candidates insist that they won't contest election. And election commission decides to go ahead and conduct the election day after tomorrow. What will you do? Withdraw or still go?
I said that if my withdrawing helps the cause, then I'll withdraw. But I'm in it for a reason. And I don't, if it doesn't serve a purpose, it's pointless.
What is the cause? Can you elaborate? What is the cause? You say
I think the cause is to give a mainstream voice to everyone. As the cause is to assess situations and try and make things better. I think I've said it many times over in many interviews what my cause is, and I think if you go through all that I've been saying all this while, I think you'll understand what my cause is. It should be very clear and evident.
Tasaduq, the national conference is today, even the patron who is contested from the national conference for Srinagar blamed the ruling dispensation, the PDP, the BJP, for in a way orchestrating events because of the violence, just to ensure low turnout so that it basically benefits the PDP.
All right, that's a point of view. No comments. That's a point of view.
Tasaduq, there is some ambiguity, or we have not understood it properly. You are saying you are appealing election commission to postpone these polls, and you are saying if it helps, I will do this, and helps the cause, I will do it. Can you please explain to us what exactly is your step? Will you withdraw or you just want election commission to postpone?
I want the election commission to postpone. I want the election commission to postpone these elections. And if it helps in postponing, if my withdrawing helps in postponing the elections, I'm happy to withdraw.
So will you do that?
I will withdraw if it helps in postponing. If it postpones the elections to a more favorable time, why not?
But has any official communication gone from your party side to the election commission?
Like I said earlier, the official communication has gone months back. And for one, the government's job is sometimes to preempt and not just to, piecemeal solutions. So they, in their being responsible, they have communicated very clearly to the Election Commission that this is not a favorable time for the elections. There is written communication to that effect.
So that feedback has gone to the election commission?
Yes, many months before, continuous communication and appeals back and forth. But I think that's a question that you must ask the government in more detail, more comprehensively.
Is it because of yesterday's bloodshed, 8 people lost their lives, and the opposition is certainly going to say that you are now afraid of contesting, that's why you're pulling out. You didn't pull out. 3 days back or 5 days back? Is it because of that?
Because the situation is continuously changing. At my level, am not going to be able to assess what is going to happen tomorrow. And when certain things happen, we have to be cognizant of the fact that these are things that have been led in a certain direction or have gone in a certain direction, and we must make amends accordingly. And
are you hurt by what happened yesterday? That's why you want to pull out?
I am hurt by what happened yesterday, yes. And like I said, when I clearly said that I'm not here to pull out, but I'm here to make an appeal to the Election Commission that this should be taken to a more favorable, happen at a more favorable time. But we have.
Just last month we had the press conference by the JNK Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti. She said it is the battle between 95% people and 5% people are responsible for the Kashmir unrest. Did your perception change during this period when you were campaigning on the ground in South Kashmir in the different areas?
My perception was favorable in many ways. I communicated with lots and lots of people. I saw a certain amount of participation. I guess there should have been a larger group of people participating, but I did see participation. If I hadn't, then I would have raised that point earlier, this point earlier.
So there is another school of thought that due to there is a alliance between the PDP and the BJP, this is an anger, this is a manifestation of the anger, and people want that PDP should explain, and they got votes against, they got votes against the BJP, and the campaign that they're doing it to ensure that they go against the BJP, and then when the equations came out, the numbers came out, they allied with the BJP. Do you agree with that? Do you find
after the alliance, Mehbooba Mufti won with a significant margin. We are all aware of that. So had that been the case, she would not have.
Why is there standard on the ground? Election Commission will not postpone elections. Will you withdraw as a candidate for the election?
I will not withdraw as a candidate because if, like I said it repeatedly, if it helps to withdraw, if it helps to postpone, and if it helps in some way, I'd be happy to withdraw.
But if they will not accept the plea, as you have mentioned that we are feeling them that they should withdraw, if they will not accept, what will be your next course of action?
My next course of action is to, I think I have, for me, I'm responsible for putting my point across. But since I have contested as a candidate, mine is to go through with it and go through with this.
Are you apprehensive is going to be more, violent as compared to yesterday?
What do you feel?
What is your assessment?
What is your assessment?
I feel yes, it is going to be.
Well, that answers the question. There is not, you mean you cannot, I'm not a soothsayer, so I cannot say, but common sense says that we should postpone these elections.
Tasaduq, yesterday only 6% people, came out and voted. Don't you think this entire election, because it actually gives a sense that the democracy hasn't functioned at all?
Absolutely. I mean, democracy, when you talk about freedom, I think that stands for true for everyone. For everyone in this equation should let people express themselves. And I think that freedom should come from, everyone who's involved. Come again, sorry?
Internet ban.
Internet ban, who said that?
He was referring to internet ban.
Yes, of course. I think you can't force people to vote, and you can't force them not to vote. And that's a part of expression. That's your fundamental right.
What is your sense of freedom?
In what way are you asking this question?
You said freedom is people can vote and not vote. How do you define freedom?
That is how I define freedom, that any person who has a right to vote should be able to cast his vote or not cast his vote, and should not be forced by any party or any person or any group of people to do otherwise.
Did you see any coercion in yesterday's events that people were not allowed to vote?
Clearly, some people were not allowed to vote, and some people were. This is not an ideal situation. This is not how democracy should work, in a broader sense. No.
Would you admit yesterday 93% didn't come out to vote? The separatists carried the day. Would you admit this?
I think no one carried the day. I think what lost the day is in a way democracy and fundamental right to vote.
But you won't give credit to the separatists because their boycott call worked?
how would you give a credit to anyone who curtails freedom? When you talk about freedom and the ethos of defining how you want to live your lives and be free as a society, and anyone who curtails that freedom, be it the government, be it the separatists, be it any group, is not in the wrong. Is in the wrong.
So calling for boycott is not part of democracy. Calling for boycott of elections is not part of
Enforcement
democracy.
of boycott.
Enforcement is different. I'm talking about calling for boycott.
Calling for boycott, yes, it is not a part of democracy, no. No one group can do that, no. I don't think so. Democracy is when anyone can exercise his right, his or her right, to cast. That's your fundamental right.
Would you say that this probably is the worst possible time for you to take plunge into electoral process? Would you admit that?
I think this is a time as good or bad as any other time. So there is, for me, this is the only time, and there is no comparison.
Mr. Tasaduq, is your sister on board on your appeal for this postponement?
Like I said, through the government, several appeals have been made already.
But has the PDP written a letter to the election commission formally?
Yes, a formal letter, yes.
It has gone or it is yet?
Yes, it has gone much before.